This is Jill for today.
Are you sure?
It is. You can look on the banner. It says Jill for today. And I'm in the kitchen with my signature glass of wine. Excuse me. Today, don't you run away. We are fixing Coq Au Vin, or Coq Au Vin. It is literally rooster in wine. It's so simple. Don't be afraid. Stick with me. I'm going to show you the steps. You're going to put it in that pot. You're going to let it cook for 2 hours, and you're going to pull it out and say, oh my gosh, she was right. This is so good. Now, you know, I was going to do it in the Instant Pot. I said, you know, I don't think so. I mean, I'm kind of probably a little off the center when it comes to Coq Au Vin recipes as it is. So I said, I'm not going to put it in an Instant Pot. There are recipes for that, but not this one. So, having said all that, I think we better start cooking. The first thing I want to show you is the chicken I have selected. Now, this is what I had. I have some breasts that are boneless, and I have some bone-in thighs, which I skinned it and took off as much fat as I could. If you had a whole chicken, great. If you have legs and thighs, it doesn't matter. You can just, you know, use whatever pieces of chicken that you have or that you like. So I'm going to just sort of lightly season this on the top. A little kosher salt here, not too much because I'm going to salt the other side, and some freshly ground pepper. I have a little, actually it's a coffee mill, and I use that now for grinding pepper, so it's nice and fresh. So I'm going to turn this and get the side salt and peppered, and then once I do that, we'll come back for the next step. Okay, so now we're on to our next step, which is another sip of wine. I'm going to be using pancetta in this recipe. It's an Italian bacon. It's not smoked. It doesn't have that smoky flavor, but it is. It's aged. And why don't you come on down here and take a look at this? This is what it looks like. It's just a rolled piece of pork belly, I guess, just like a piece of bacon would be. You could use bacon, but it's recommended that you maybe like boil it for about 10 minutes to try to get some of that. There's a string. Try to get some of that smokiness out of it. But this is pretty easily found now in grocery stores. I'm going to be cutting this into lardons, and I'll just show you a couple of these, and then I won't bore you with the rest. I can smell it. It smells wonderful. It's very fragrant bacon. Anyway, I'm going to do lardons, which are just like little longer than cubes, maybe 1 by 1/2, something along that line, and it's called lardons. It's a very French word for just cutting things up into little strips. So I'm going to do just this 1/2. That's all I'm going to do. I don't need all of that, and I'll just put that in the freezer for my next needs for pancetta. So I'm going to go ahead and finish cutting this up, and then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, I've got this pan here. It's a little warm. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. We want to just brown off these and get a little of that flavor from the lardons, the pancetta, in here. I'm going to brown them up. I'm going to turn that down again. I've got this new stove, a little induction burner, which I absolutely love, but I'm getting used to the burner and the temperature. So these should be nicely browned all the way around. They'll take some of their oil out, you know, the fat from the pancetta, which is going to help me with browning my onions and celery and carrots, which is called a mirepoix. And you're learning all kinds of French words today. So I'm going to let this saute for a while, and once we're ready to get the mirepoix into the pot, we'll come back. All right, we are rocking and rolling here. I'm going to go ahead and put in I've got a shallot, small shallot. I've got some onion in there, and I'm going to try to leave back that celery and carrots and just do the onions and the shallots right now. I did get a little celery in there, but that's no big deal. What I want to do is get those onions wilted a bit more, because the carrots and the celery, they kind of take care of themselves, you know, in there. So I'm going to add a little salt and pepper. We always want to season as we go, building up those layers of flavor. If you put it all in at once, you would lose it. You put little layers in here and there, and It helps at the end, that's for sure. All right, give me a few minutes on these onions and we'll be back and start adding the carrots and the celery. I did add, while you were away, I did add the carrots and the celery. And as you can see, the onions look real translucent now. And I'm going to just deglaze this pan a little bit, just a little bit with some of the white wine. And I'm going to turn that up a little bit there so we can get some deglaze. And oh, see there, down here, isn't that wonderful? That's all those little brown bits is flavor. It's just wonderful flavor. All right, I'm going to now transfer this to a bowl and wipe the pan out and put a little olive oil in there. And now we're going to start sauteing the chicken. So I'm going to start adding chicken in here. I don't want to cook it. I just want to brown it. I want to have a nice little golden color. I don't want to crowd the pot. So I'm going to put just those 4 pieces in there. And I'm going to let those brown. I'm going to turn them over and I will brown the other side. And I'll bring you in when I can show you what color that chicken should be when you make the turn. Okay, my thigh is taking a little longer to brown, but my breasts are doing very nicely here. They're nice and brown. I'm going to see how the other side is getting out a little golden brown. So I'm going to saute off all the chicken. As I said, I'm not going to cook it. I'm just going to brown it. And then once that's done, we are ready to put the symphony together and put it in the oven and let it braise. So we will be back. I know you probably hear that fan on my little induction burner, and I'm sorry about that. It's just the way it is. Now I have all my chicken browned and I have my vegetables, sauteed. So I'm now going to start putting all of this together. But I wanted to show you a couple of things before I do. I'm going to be adding a little bouquet garni. Now I have in here some fresh thyme and some fresh rosemary and a couple of small bay leaves. And I have them just tied up. If you had cheesecloth, you could, wrap all that up in cheesecloth, but really just a little bit of twine is all you need to tie that up. And I put a little loop there. See that little loop? So when I'm ready to fish this out, all I have to do is take a fork and fish it out. So it's not real hard to get out. The other thing I wanted to discuss was the wine. They always say, oh, don't put a wine in a dish that you wouldn't want to drink. Well, I'll tell you what, folks, I'll drink Woodbridge. It's a good wine. This is a great wine. You know who else makes a great wine for this sort of application is Kirkland, good old Costco. They make a pretty darn good wine. Anyway, I'm using a Chardonnay today, and I'm going to be deglazing the pan, and this is what I will be also cooking the chicken in, as well as some chicken stock. Coq Au Vin is a lot of times thought of as red wine, but it's definitely acceptable to use white wine or a Riesling, just really depending on what your taste is. I did have red wine, but I said, heck no, let's go with white. So I'm going to go ahead and get my stove heated up again, and we'll be back. Okay, the veggies are going back in the pan. Ooh, that is hot, isn't it? Woo. I may turn that baby down a little bit. And I'm going to add a couple of garlic cloves at this point. And I'm going to add my bouquet garni. And then what I'm going to add is a couple of teaspoons, heavy teaspoons. I guess if you wanted to put them in a measuring spoon, it's probably, 2 tablespoons. And I'm going to stir this in. First of all, you can see that this pan is beginning to deglaze a little bit on its own with the, do you smell that, Director?
Oh, yes.
The herbs, that, oh my gosh. Really, fresh herbs. A lot of stores now carry them like in bulk. That's how I buy mine, is I go to the store and I only buy 2 or 3 sprigs at a time instead of those little packages, Anyway, this smells divine, absolutely divine. So I'm deglazing this pan here. I'm actually going to put a little bit of wine. Let's have some wine.
Yeah.
Let's have some wine.
Surprise.
What a surprise. And I'm going to just cook this about a minute because I want to take that floury, the flour taste of the flour. You cook that away so it doesn't taste too pasty. I guess that's the best way to say that. Okay, now I'm going to add a good couple of tablespoons of tomato paste. The director last week fixed us for our anniversary braised short ribs with red wine. And I want to tell you what, I actually would like to see him do them again in the future on camera.
I will.
It was so delicious. And what's interesting about this recipe, if you'll notice, Director, it's very similar really to the braised short ribs. A lot of it's very similar. All right, I think this looks really, really good. So I'm going to put the chicken back in the pot on top of these babies. Just lay them in, kind of nestle them in, as they say. Nestle, nestle. I have my oven set at 350, and I'm going to cook these in the oven for, about 2 hours. And as I said, if you really wanted to do an Instant Pot dinner, you could, and maybe give it, after you've done all these steps, and you put your broth and your wine in there, probably 15, 18 minutes, something like that would cook the chicken. But if you have a lazy afternoon and you don't really have much to do, I say go for it. Now, one of the steps that I'm not doing with this is the flaming with cognac. I don't have cognac. The recipes, every recipe I've seen about Coq Au Vin is you flame it with cognac, and then you let that burn off, and then you add your wine and your chicken broth. But I'm not doing that. So I'm going to add, I'll bet this is about, let's see here, maybe a cup and a half of white wine. And I'm going to allow this to cook, kind of boil actually. I need a little bit more than that. I'm going to add chicken broth, but I'm going to add a little more wine. And I'm going to let this just kind of simmer for about 5 minutes. I want to cook that alcohol taste out of that wine, so it doesn't taste real alcohol-y, even though it's going to cook a while. We want to get that. And I'm just going to scrape all that good stuff off the bottom that's in there. Tell them.
Smells good.
It's amazing. All right, I'm going to let this, like I said, maybe simmer about 5 minutes, cook that alcohol off, and then we'll come in and I'll put the chicken broth in there, and we'll get ready to put this baby into the oven. So we'll be back. So this has been simmering about 6-8 minutes, and I'm going to put enough chicken broth in there to bring that sauce right to the tip top of the chicken. I don't want to drown it. I just want to tip top it, like so. Just kind of mix it in there so it's kind of incorporated with the wine and the seasonings, all that. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is why I added that flour. The reason I added the flour is to create a thickener, so you have almost a gravy. When you're done. I'm going to put the lid on this, and this is going to go into a 350-degree oven for, here comes the camera. I'm going to put it in the oven for about 2 hours. You could push it maybe an hour and a half, but you want it tender, you want the sauce to develop, and I think that a good 2 hours will do it. If you had a whole chicken in there, I would say 2 hours. Anyway, we're going to let this cook for, there goes the sound of that fan is off. 350 for about 2 hours, and when that's done, we're going to come back. I'm going to show you what we're going to do with the sauce. Not much more. I'm so evidently you hung in here with me because you're still here listening to me. It's a great recipe. You may think, there's a few too many steps, but they're easy steps. We'll be back. We're back. About 2 hours have gone by. We've brought the pot out. We've not opened it, so it's going to be all of us looking at it at the same time. So let's open up the lid here. And it is smoking hot. Oh, yeah. Yikes, that's hot. Look at this. This is beautiful. I think what I'm going to do is now pull out my Garni there. There it is. See there how nice, how nice it was. I had that little knot there. So I pull that out. And then what I'm going to do here is I am going to remove the chicken. It just smells amazing. I'm going to remove the chicken from this pot. It's so hot, and I'm going to put it on a serving platter. And then I'm going to put this on my stove, and I'm going to let that sauce boil down and reduce, maybe 10 minutes, because I think it should be a little thicker than it is. And I'm going to cook up some egg noodles, and we are going to serve this, and we're going to take a taste of it. So hang tight, because it's going to be not too long before we are ready to take a sample of this. Here we are. I've got some egg noodles cooked, some beautiful chicken breast with that Coq Au Vin sauce on it. It looks amazing. I did a little parsley on it. And so now we're going to take a taste test. Are you ready to taste this? Yikes, I'm so excited. First of all, the aroma is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It's just amazing. And it looks really good. Now, I will say that if you wanted to get real fancy schmancy, you could take this sauce and strain it through a sieve to get all the veggies, the carrots and the celery and all that out of there. But this is what they call more country style. It's a little more earthy. So I'm not going to do that. We're going to check it out.
You're having a thigh.
I'm having a thigh, and you're having
and
a
I'm
breast.
having a breast.
All right, here goes.
Oh, wow. Oh, that sauce is delicious.
It's very tender. What do you think? It's really good. Really good. I'm going to take a noodle. Tell them about the wine.
We're going to be having this tonight with a Remy Dolcetto 2016. It's from the Jubilee Vineyard. Remy is a small winery in Dundee, Oregon, that we visited recently, and we're going to give the Dolcetto a try.
Yeah. Oh, it smells really good, doesn't it?
Yes. What a fruit.
You know what's nice about this? It's delicious. I really going to stand up to this chicken.
It's very good.
It's delicious.
Very good.
Very good. Well, my dear, I think this
I'm
was
gonna
a
go back to eating.
successful.
I want to try that again just to make sure I didn't get a false
No,
impression.
you wouldn't want to do that. No, it's really good, and the sauce is delicious. Now I know, you probably watch this video and say, "Oh my God, there's too many steps." Well, they're all tiny steps. They're all
And
tiny
whatever
steps.
it is, it was worth it.
And once you get it into the oven, or on your stovetop with just a real small little simmer, it just does its own thing for a couple of hours. And then you cook up some noodles, have a salad.
And the noodles soak up that sauce, and it's just...
What a lovely dinner to have for company, really. You'll put this out and they'll say, "Oh my word, this is fabulous. You must have worked hours on it."
Yeah. Well, you did.
All right. Are we done? I think
Yes,
we're going to
we
have
are.
some dinner here. Thank you all for watching, and thank you for putting me back on the Jill for Today track. Yeah?
Yep.
And I hope you subscribe, and I will list the ingredients and the recipe for you. And we hope to see you soon. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.